Hello, guys, and welcome back to Figuring Out Friday, presented to you by Healing Your Way and Mike. It's been a while since the last time we went live from that library with crazy music in the background. But today we are joining straight from Siberia, as you can see from my background. Michael, where you at? Tell us how you been.
I'm in the Great Tom's River. Unfortunately, I cannot join Pickle in Siberia. I really wish I could, but in a way quieter and calmer environment this time, guys.
Mm, like that. So, what we'll be talking about today, and do you want to start
Yeah.
this part?
Today we're basically gonna talk about blood, since it's a very big indicator for things that are going on inside your body that a lot of people might just shrug off at first, but when you really look like deep down into it, you realize how important it is. And your blood, it usually reacts years before, and this is we're talking about like diseases or like any just any any sort of feeling you might have. So for example, you might feel or say, I'm tired but I sleep enough, my workouts feel harder than they should be, I feel anxious for no reason. And it's because your blood, it reacts years before symptoms usually even occur. And again, you might just shrug off and say, maybe it's just stress or I need more coffee. But in reality, your body's like screaming at you. And by that time, you feel something or any imbalances. It has already been building quietly for months and even years. So remember, there's usually a reason for imbalances, diseases, or anything, but they show up in your blood first. So this is basically what we're going to be talking about. And jumping straight from that, one of the biggest indicators is iron. And that's a perfect example because its job is to help your blood in your body carry red blood cells. And that, of course, delivers oxygen across throughout your body. And no iron or decreased iron in your system means you're more fatigued, dizzy, you have shortness of breath, cold hands and feet, uh, even brain fog. So
Yeah,
uh, and
like
a wild, yeah, yeah,
I was gonna say, these might seem like small symptoms, and you might not even be paying attention to it, but it might actually tell us a lot about what our is going through and what we have to work on. So I would say just going back to blood is usually like when we test blood, that only happens when something is like wrong. And I would say that's why most people are like scared of doing blood tests and going to labs and doing all that work, because like they look as that as something is different and something is wrong. But in most cases, we're supposed to do blood work just to see like what feedback we can get from our blood before these symptoms like get out of hand. And also if you're stressed, underslept, underfed, overtrained, and inflamed, like blood reflects that, and like you can actually learn a lot of stuff about yourself that you might not even realize. For like iron, you said,
hmm
like let's say like athletes, for example, take athletes most athletes think that like those symptoms are normal, but like athletes are the individuals who like absorb and consume this iron, like their body consumes iron faster because they always train and they need that oxygen in their body tissues. So athletes should be the ones like more looking for that. Let's say iron was example, so that's why I'm giving you this example. Like
yeah,
athletes should be aware of that, like their body actually requires more iron than average person. Like example would be here Joe Sham, our guy from Healing Your Way. Like he trains for MMA. He also does other stuff that physically affects him. So since he's mostly training like his body requires more oxygen. Then he noticed these symptoms that he had, like cold feet, like when you get up and you get dizzy. And if you find that issue and you notice those symptoms faster, like you can make progress faster because you can get supplements for that. And Joshan was able to get those supplements, and I'm pretty sure he now feels way better. And he said his performance also like increased.
Yeah, and on top of that, I don't know if Joshan can agree with this, but it's kind of wild how there's like a lot of disciplined people out there, and they still end up again, like you said, with low iron,
Yeah,
and some they may like label themselves like lazy or depressed or unmotivated, right? And again, it's wild because those people they train hard, maybe and since we're on iron, they might not like eat as much red meat.
yeah,
And for those out there, red red meat is in this context, you guys might know about red meat versus white meat. And in red meat, there's more of this hem iron, which your body absorbs better compared to white meat. So they might like and this has to do later on with cholesterol, which we'll get into, but they
yeah,
might cut out red meat in their diet, undereat, or they're constantly stressed. So these people still end up like with low iron. And they just have to understand still that their body just you don't have the tool to uh to basically work, because again that iron delivers the oxygen throughout your body, and without that it does not matter how much willpower in the world you might have. If your body can't deliver that oxygen, then you're basically fighting like an uphill battle. And from there, that's where the kitchen ties in and why it matters so much, since iron can come from foods such as like red meat, eggs, or leafy greens.
right.
And I have a question for you, which
Hmm.
is, do you think people may be living at 60% or 70% of and just calling it life from there?
Mm.
I,
So
I
you're
can, yeah, yeah,
so you're saying like they not fully optimizing their lifestyle and trying to reach the optimal health, I guess, right?
yeah.
That's what you're asking. Yeah, I would say I agree because like if I take my example, if I
Hmm.
believe if it was someone else in my place, like I'm talking about weight loss, like weight loss journey type of thing.
Yeah.
Since my weight loss, I would say most people like stop wherever I am currently because they would think, yeah, this is like
It's like this is good
average.
enough,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, good
Yeah.
enough, average. I don't feel any pain, like I don't feel sick. But since I'm like doing this research, learning more about our body and how to actually live optimal health, I would say my optimal lifestyle looks way better compared to average. And I think most people in the United States are average because imagine like only 6.8% of the whole mm, United States
Population?
population, yeah,
Yeah.
like in the United States, only 6.8 have like healthy metabolism in today, like based on research and stuff. So yeah, I believe a lot of people actually live to 60, 70, maybe even 80% of what they actually can achieve.
Yeah, and I completely agree with that because the scary part again is people don't even know they might be running at that lower percentage. So they might think they're tired, anxious, foggy, or unmotivated.
Yeah.
And in a way, your body gets like good at surviving in those bad conditions. It's like survival mode, and
Hmm.
it might feel normal.
Yeah.
So it's like your body forgets what it's like to wake up like with a clear mind, and people can just settle for that, or others decide to push through with caffeine distractions, or um just other things, and just call that living.
Yeah. 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 I agree. Definitely.
Yeah.
So I would say also going back to like actually what can we do and how can we like take these small steps to optimize health. First of all, look as a like take feedback from your blood. Like you should not be looking blood work as a something that you have to like reason behind has to be some diagnosis of the disease. You can use this as a feedback. So even for your like a yearly annual checkup, like you can ask for your doctor to maybe like give you the writing for lab tests and get that lab done and see what progress you're making, or even if this is your first time, where you currently stand and what you can like improve. And also like even the education is important about this topic, because like let's say if you go to the doctor, like doctors are trained to like look for disease thresholds. So I would say like some patients' goal might be to feel better. So that's what we do at, let's say, healing your way. Maybe doctors, average time of patient and doctor conversation about this specific topic is only like, imagine, 12 minutes. And a lot of doctors just be like, yeah, you're in average threshold, you're good to go, but patient might not be feeling better. So that's why um, I have a list here of like all these stuff that you can learn from blood work, and we can also talk about like how to fix it, what's optimal range, what's normal range. We can just go through. And before I start, this is a long list. Do you want to like add anything
Yeah,
to it?
yeah. I was gonna say before you go into like the results, you guys can realize too that you could like ignore your blood work for a while, but eventually like that blood work will tell its story. So this is why again that routine blood work checkup is very important. It's following that structure where it's like you rather know something early than wait for the symptoms, and it's not just always about again catching diseases, but just that imbalance. So that's why I know out there's people who they want to get like an advantage over others, like let's say in sports competition. So you might know about blood doping, where you just take out your blood, and then athletes might take out their blood and
Mm,
later on put it back in themselves just to increase like that oxidation rate.
yeah.
So again, that but competition aside, your blood is very important and it's like very crucial that you listen to it. So you could go into the results now.
Yeah, also like oxygen wise, it also depends like where you live. Imagine if you
Yeah,
live on,
like
yeah,
Caucasus Mountains.
yeah, if you live on higher altitudes, your blood automatically like adapts to having higher oxygen volume. So like living on high altitude, that's why people live longer out there, I guess, because like their blood is so oxygen rich.
Rich, yeah.
Yeah.
Are you you're part of Georgia? Are you like higher up in the
And
mountains?
I'm like sea level.
Oh, okay. So
Like I think even below sea level.
oh crap. So
Yeah,
do you ever like visit? Do you have family members that you might
yeah,
visit up higher?
not visit, but like we own like a house up in
Hmm.
mountains. Like every summer, like most families just take a trip for a week or two, just to, they call it, change the air.
Okay.
And you I mean, it kind of works, I guess, because your blood adapts on you being on higher altitude, and like since your body can take more oxygen, it will definitely take it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Were you able to adapt up to like the higher mountains?
Yeah, and also like breathing gets so much easier, and like
Hmm.
you just feel full of energy during that time of period, like when you change the altitudes and
Yeah.
actually take a trip to relax.
Yeah.
That's why it is recommended for like for everyone to take at least one trip somewhere, because like you just getting rid of every stress factor that you might have wherever you currently live, and that even like 1 week might be able to help you to calm down, relax, and that might actually show on blood work too. Like if
Yeah.
you're stressed out and stuff like that, some of the things might be elevated on the work, so you might have to actually
So
take a
sometimes
trip.
these doctors
Yeah.
gotta, yeah, just to prescribe a trip instead of some of the supplements.
Yeah.
I
All
would
right.
be down to try to go up in the mountains too, just because I know some people they go
Mhm.
up and they might not be able to handle the altitudes. Like they might end up passing out.
Yeah.
Yeah, and for sure those guys up there they have like you got like thicker blood in this
Yeah,
case.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I would
So
say.
yeah, maybe my weak beach sea boy blood might not be able to handle it, bro. Uh,
That 2 weeks or even 1 week time period will definitely work with that.
yeah.
Yeah. All right. So let's get into results and what you actually get from, let's say, the labs that you will do in like normal panel. So first of all, I guess most people heard of is CBC. It's complete complete blood count. So what does it tell us? It tells us oxygen delivery, how oxygenated our blood is, immune function, and like recovery capacity that we have. So we will find like hemoglobin and hematocrit and labs, and here I have like notes of like what normal range is and what might be optimal range, and this also depends on the individual. So for hemoglobin here, normal range is for men around 13.5 to 17.5, and optimal range for men would be 14.5 to 16.0. Women, it is 12.0 to 15.5, and optimal would be from around 13.0 to 14.5. So if you have this like all even like six before 6 months, let's say these results, and doctors maybe just told you that yeah you're fine, like you can also like check over these numbers and see if you feel fine, you can always go for that optimal range to, let's say, feel even better. Or if you think it doesn't require any changes, you don't have to make any changes. So what they do, this hemoglobin and hematocrit, like they carry oxygen to muscle and brain. That's their main function. And oxygen is, we know, equal to energy, focus, endurance during our workouts. So what might happen when, let's say, people are low? So people might feel like you can feel constant fatigue. Also, you might have like poor workout tolerance. Like when you work out, you feel like tired, but in the old times you were able to lift these weights. So maybe that's what happening. Then you might start having brain fogs, cold sensitivity. See, iron symptoms might even come out here. Lightheadedness, also one of the iron symptoms. So you're never sure until you actually do these tests to confirm that those symptoms are caused by this. So it's always like recommended, if you don't know where you stand, just get that blood test done. You can ask for your PCP and that will give you like for annual checkup. But you can also like, there are tests that would be nice to know results. So you might have to pay it out of pocket, since like most doctors can't give you like the script for that. You know, they have to put a code and order those lab work. So if you pay it out of pocket, it's less than $100, and I think that is recommended also, because like you know completely what your blood says and why you can take it from that results as a feedback. And what you can change, what changes you can make in your lifestyle to, let's say, improve this hemoglobin and hematocrit. Like adequate iron intake, like eat foods that are rich in iron, like Michael was telling us. One apple a day keeps the doctor away. All right, we know
Mhm.
apple contains iron. B12 intake, B12 can, oh, go ahead. You want to say something?
Oh no, I wasn't gonna say anything.
B12 intake, vitamin B12, but you cannot also, like you cannot overdo these things, because I know cases where someone close to me was taking vitamin B12, and she started having some symptoms that was a little scary, but it might have been all caused just overdoing vitamin B12. So you have to make sure that you stay in those limits and not overdo and not underdo it. So we have to shoot for the optimal range. Also, we have to avoid like chronic overtraining and improve our sleep. That's how we improve our hemoglobin and hematocrit levels and get to that optimal range that I was talking about. White blood cells. Also, we learn about that from the tests. Like they defend illness, and they basically are uh, immunity. People might call immunity like T cells and
Yeah,
all
or
that.
leukocytes. Yeah.
Yeah, and like if you have like high white blood cells, that means like you might be experiencing like chronic stress, and also you might be, let's say, having poor recovery, not giving yourself enough time to like recover. You know, a lot of people say, "Yeah, I don't read rest days," and they just overtrain, and that's what might happen. And it might also cause inflammation. You know, inflammation is not good for us. For a short amount of time, that means we are making a recovery. But if it's chronic inflammation, that means something is actually wrong with our body. So we have to get that checked out. What happens if you have low white blood cells? If you have low white blood cells, also again overtraining, under eating, and also that means our immunity will be like weaker since we don't have enough cells to fight against this
Oh wait,
virus.
that was actually interesting because I always thought like more white blood cells is like always like a great thing.
Yeah.
And yeah, I didn't know that just it's like more so bigger stress response
Yeah, yeah,
for
yeah.
your
So
body.
that's yeah, that's why we have to shoot for that normal
Mhm.
range. Like maybe it is good to have high end of the like normal range. Here I have white blood cells. The range, normal range is from 4.0 to 11.0. And
Okay.
here is what optimal range is 4.5 to 7.5.
Okay.
You get it? Like
Yeah.
person might feel good at 11 range, but he might even feel better at 7.5
Yeah, and they just
because
don't know
maybe
about it.
yeah, maybe because for an individual like that over 3 might cause chronic stress and they might not realize that, maybe even cause inflammation. So that's why it is important to have education about this and like maybe watch a video or hear you watching if you're watching this podcast you're getting educated currently. So yeah, that's why like if you go to the doctor might look at it and says, yeah, this is an normal range, you're
Mhm.
down here, like I cannot give you anything, but you don't feel right.
Yeah.
you know that's why it is good to know these limits. How can we change our lifestyle to support the reaching the optimal levels to this? We have to have consistent sleep amounts of time. Like, you cannot sleep 8 hours a day and 4 hours the next day. The, it will be better to sleep 7 hours every day than like that type of sleep schedule. Also, like if you eat enough like food, but you have to make sure you eat whole foods. You cannot be eating processed foods
Yeah.
or any of these processed food that actually is throwing off these like stuff off the charts. That's why it is important to make sure your diet includes whole foods and you have to like minimize that ultra processed food intake. And also balancing training with recovery, so taking those rest days which are important for us. And we have currently iron and ferritin. So what they do is they build the red blood cells and they transport oxygen. That's the main purpose of this. They support energy and endurance. So what is ferritin? Some people might not never heard of it. It's like iron storage. So that's where excess iron goes to, and also low ferritin is a sign of basically like empty gas tank. And here is the ranges. Ferritin iron storage for men is from 30 to 300. For women, it's 15 to 150. And optimal is same for both of them. It's around from 50 to 100 range. And what happens if you have like what are the symptoms of the low iron? You're like extremely fatigued, cold hands and feet. Like you always have that sensation of it's cold in a room and it just your hands are cold or maybe even your feet. And some people might say, yeah, this feels regular for me. The room temperature. So you might have to get that checked out. before it
And
gets.
also, yeah, for a lot of people too, that would just be like you're like anemic.
Yeah,
So this happens more for females. So
yeah,
whenever they say, I get up too fast and like the blood does not, yeah, so
yeah,
you end up passing out or something. So that could
hmm
also be dangerous.
yeah. And as you can see, like multiple symptoms, we can see multiple symptoms in like different things. Like for example, like hemoglobin was connected, whatever symptoms we might experience for low iron, you know. So that's why you have to have that result. So you make sure that's what's the cause of it. And like storage might be low even if hemoglobin looks okay because hemoglobin and iron both are connected to carrying oxygen, and that's why hemoglobin molecule is built on iron. Lifestyle regulations and how we can improve this is eat iron rich foods like red meats, eggs, and if you're not allergic to shellfish, I guess you can eat shellfish. Also, like best thing to pair iron with is vitamin C because it increases the absorption of it. So if you eat the foods that we named here, and let's see, eat orange or something after it as a little snack, or maybe if you have sweet tooth, eat orange after a meal, so it will help absorption of iron. Sorry about that. And like we have to avoid coffee or tea with iron heavy meals. That's what decrease the absorption of it. And like if you have, let's say, like gut health issues, that might actually be a reason why your iron might be off the charts. And if you think that you're like ex- overly training for endurance training, you might have to like keep those, like reduce it, because it might actually be the reason why your iron keeps dropping. Next, we have blood sugar. And what we have for blood sugar, we have glucose and A1C. So what does blood sugar do? It fuels the brain, fuels the muscles, and regulates energy and mood. But we, as as for all of them, we cannot have over or under for this. So here I have,
And I
yeah,
was
go
just
ahead.
gonna say for the mood,
Yeah,
again, like basically your whole mood can be represented by your blood sugar, like if it
yeah,
spikes or not. So maybe it can range from you being, that's why if you wonder why am I anxious, impulsive, or am I feel like irritated, again, that could be your blood sugar. So I just want to throw that in real quick.
yeah, yeah. Great addition. So here, let's say normal ranges I have for fasting glucose, it should be from 70 to 99. And if you're shooting for optimal, it should be from 75 to 90. And HbA1c should be under 5.7%. And if you want optimal, it's from range from around 4.8 to 5.3%. So what does it feel like if you, what symptoms you might experience if you have this dysregulation in your blood sugar? Like you might feel like energy crashes, like those, like at the end of the day you just crash.
Mhm.
Maybe you crave a lot, you crave sugar, you crave food. That's caused by like high blood sugars, and maybe even low, like you will never know, but it, like you will know that it's dysregulated, it's not supposed to happen. You might experience brain fog and poor sleep. So like blood
Also,
sugar, yeah.
the approach for like it's like a kind of like a sugar cycle. You could think
Hmm.
of it as it would just be like your sugar spiking, and then you again it ends up crashing, and then you might feel anxious, and then like you said, the craving, and then
Yeah.
the cycle usually repeats itself. So usually your brain, when the blood sugar drops, it might see this as like stress, or that's how your
Hmm.
brain interprets it.
Yeah.
And also like a solution to this, you might have a different one for me, but like you could eat your protein first and then your carbs, just to slow
Yeah.
things down and keep your blood sugars from spiking. So something like eggs and toast compared to like coffee and toast is like a big difference when it
Mm.
comes to stabilizing your energy.
Yeah. And that's, yeah, I had that one of the options as I eat
Yeah.
protein first for the meals, because it all depends. Like people might think Like, yeah, I don't care what can it
Yeah.
cause, but like eating and organizing your plate can actually play such an important role for your blood sugar that like most people don't realize the benefit of knowing how to like eat your meal. So if you eat protein first and then carbs, like that's why like people always pair up, let's say carbs and protein, like the bodybuilders,
Hmm.
because if you eat just carbs and fat, that actually like increases the fat in your blood, which might cause the plumbing of your like heart blood vessels. But if you eat, let's say, protein and carbs, that's like different story because it
Yeah.
gets digested differently.
And it
you
also keeps your energy way more stable.
Mhm.
And also this could be a problem for I guess people who plan out their meals throughout the day. So maybe they like their carbs this time, protein this time,
Yeah.
but then I guess it becomes an individualized thing if
Mhm.
you can see how well how well you're taking your meal choices basically. And especially very important for like diabetics.
Yeah.
And another thing would just be not skipping your meals either, because that could worsen like the spikes and the mood swings and all that.
hmm So, like as you mentioned before, like blood sugar issues are often like stress and sleep oriented problems, and like sugar not even play a part in it. You know,
Yep.
that's why most people think, yeah, my sugar levels look like my sugar intake, let's say, looks good, and I'm making sure that I'm in normal range. But you might still feel these symptoms because, like, you might be overly stressed or stressing yourself. You might not be sleeping. So, stress and sleep problems are actually the root of a lot of problems.
Yeah.
You have to make sure you pay attention to that too. So, lifestyle regulations would be sleep earlier and like, consistently. Like, your sleep schedules should be like consistent. Eat protein first during meals, as we mentioned. Walking after meals actually help because I was watching the video the other day, and one of the doctors who works with pre-diabetics, like he mentioned that like he's the patient's doctor told the patient, yeah, you have this you have this issue, like you're a pre-diabetic, but they never told the patient of like what to do to fix this issue. That's why it's like today's healthcare is like disease management, not like the solution of the whatever the
Yeah.
cause it.
And
And
I guess also for like profit, they'll just keep prescribing
yeah,
like all the prescriptions for your insulin and whatever and whatnot. And actually for my dad, he was diabetic,
mm,
but basically, and when he walked into the clinic, everybody was congratulating him, but I was thinking in the back of my head like you guys
mm,
could have like solved this problem way quicker, because they just kept prescribing him
yeah,
medication. But one thing he did was like switching from like white rice to brown rice, and brown rice way more nutritious,
mm,
and that basically solved his whole problem. But again, it's with the industry and wanting
yeah,
to profit from it basically.
yeah. That's why it's important to listen to healing your way, so you know those small things that might cause your bigger problems.
Yep.
And going back to it, that doctor said, yeah. So one of the things I gave my patient is just to walk after eating. So this walking after meals helps to regulate your blood sugar because when you walk, like he said, one of the calf muscles gets activated, which actually feeds on this like sugar that enters your system. So when you walk, that sugar automatically gets absorbed into that muscle. Not it just doesn't stay in our bloodstream, so it cannot cause the problems. That's why walking after meals are important.
Hmm.
And strength train regularly, and like you have to avoid like extreme restrictions. Like you were mentioning, some people might be taking out some food out of the diet and
Yeah.
restricting
Restriction.
themselves. Yeah, for themselves from that food, and it might actually mm, like cause even bigger problem. Well, we have a question in the chat. Do liquid sugars like juice or energy drinks cause bigger crashes? Love the energy and headgear, guys.
Um, this one I'm
I
not
mean,
too sure of, but my guess would be it could. Yeah, it could fasten it because
mhm,
I feel like fluids you would absorb way faster than like if you eat like a cookie or something.
mhm.
It's more solid. So
Yeah, so like it will definitely cause like a faster blood sugar spike.
mhm.
So also like for an energy drink, like we had a podcast about energy drinks, and energy drink is different topic because caffeine plays bigger role for energy crash there because caffeine blocks those receptors, and after they're done with the receptors, that's when the
The
crash
crash.
happens. Yeah. So for energy drink, I would say that caffeine plays the bigger role for that crash for it. But for like juices with a lot of sugar in it, yeah, I would say that definitely causes crash faster because like it's easier to get absorbed into system, and it also like most drinks contain like over the limit of the, let's say, daily sugar intake. Like small can of Coke just contains like 42 grams of sugar, and that should be like, that is like
Illegal.
over, yeah, over what you should be taking
Yeah.
one day. And people drink 2 cans of soda with their one meal. So yeah, crash will definitely happen faster, and that insulin spike will also be faster. Okay, moving into like cholesterol and lipids. What does cholesterol do? It builds hormones, supports brain health, and forms cell membranes. Like
Your
cholesterol,
cell membranes.
yeah, they form cell membranes. And when people hear like cholesterol, they think it's like some evil stuff, but like problems arise when cholesterol exists in an like inflamed environment. That's
Yeah, usually gets
yeah,
a bad rep. People
yeah,
might think they
yeah.
like if they think cholesterol, they automatically link it straight to like heart
Mhm.
attacks and
Yeah.
other complications.
So what actually causes the worsening of this lipid profiles? It's inflammation, insulin resistance, poor sleep, chronic stress, and sedentary lifestyle. And how can we regulate our lifestyle to solve these issues? Strength training, walking, making sure our omega 3 is good. So if you require like supplements, you can also supplement it, but it would be better to get it from whole foods like fish, salmon, and stuff like that. Eating whole foods, again, reducing ultra processed foods, and making sure that our sleep is consistent and good. Like sleep quality should be top notch.
Yeah. And
And
again, your body uses this cholesterol for your brain and like
yeah,
again, it's like that hormone building block. So it also kind of matters too why like the context matters.
hmm,
Since low or high cholesterol doesn't always automatically mean if you're healthy or not.
yeah,
And again, the lifestyle choices like the sleep, chronic stress, processed food, sitting all day. This is important because all this basically warps how your body manages that cholesterol.
yeah. And for the ranges, just to go through,
Hmm.
so total cholesterol should be under 200 normal range, and optimal should be 100, from 160 to 190. But also like context matters with cholesterol, as we mentioned, because cholesterol also reflects like metabolic health, not just the diet. So you have to like context matter for each individual. Like LDL normal range, it says under 130. Optimal should be from 80 to 110. And also, like if you have high LDL and also high inflammation, like that's more of a concern. But you might have high LDL and low inflammation, and that's like different story. It might not be that concerning. HDL normal range is 40, optimal is 60. Triglycerides should be under 150. Optimal is like under 100. But if you want to have like, if you have like elite metabolic health, it should be under 80. And we also have APOB. Dr. Huberman was talking about this. If normal range is under 130 and optimal is under 90, but if you're like more focused on longevity, then it should be under 80. And this APOB tells you how many bad particles are circulating and not just the cholesterol amount. So that's why he said this lab work is important. Next, we have inflammation and how can we learn about inflammation? So let's see. Inflammation is like as I mentioned before, it's like body's repair response. If it's like a short term, that means your body's recovering good. But if it's chronic, that means like there's some kind of damage going on there. So what might one feel if they have this chronic inflammation? You're like always sore. You have poor recovery from your workouts or even just regular recovery. You might feel low energy and feeling inflamed, like without knowing why. Like, those random inflammations that you might feel, it might be those your body's like response that you have to fix something.
And also, a lot of people walk around with like low grade,
Yeah.
constant inflammation, and
Yeah.
they might not realize it. So again, it shows up like brain fog, joint
Hmm.
stiffness, poor
Yeah.
recovery, gut issues. But it's nothing dramatic enough that you
Yeah.
usually go to see the doctor. But it's like enough that you never like feel like on in a
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah. So that's why you might feel fine, but if you look at your lab results, you might be
Hmm.
telling you that yeah, you have this chronic inflammation, so go work on it.
Yeah.
And what lifestyle changes we can do to like get into this optimal range? Again, prioritize sleep, and circadian rhythm helps mitochondria and our body cells to be working in their optimal state. Again, reduce ultra processed foods, balance training load. So make sure you take rest days during your workout days, like after your workout days, whatever split you have to make sure you have rest day basically. We talked about this in our previous episode, so if you want to check that out, you can definitely check that out. If you have questions, we can also remake the episode. Don't worry, guys. If you want to go deeper into these topics, we can always come up with new episode and go deeper into the topic.
Hmm.
Also, like managing emotional stress and eating like anti-inflammatory foods. Like you can search it up on Google. Like if you want to know uh, like anti-inflammatory foods, let's for example, you can search up on Google high fiber foods. Like these type of things you can search up on Google. Like you cannot ask Google to diagnose you based on your symptoms, but you can ask Google like what type of foods you should be eating to hit the optimal range. So that is good the use of Google because most people when they see this lab work, like if let's say they have an appointment they get this lab work back, right? And they have an appointment in 2 weeks. Like most people just be searching up these lab results on Google and they be stressing themselves out before even an appointment. And it might actually like cause even bigger problem, that stress.
That extra
So
stress. Yeah.
yeah. So just to not overstress yourself, like don't go too crazy on Google, like trying to diagnose yourself. If you want to get advice from Google, ask it what type of food you should be eating. That's how I find Google useful with the clients. Like
Yeah,
another,
it could be a problem for a lot of
yeah,
people if they're just self-diagnosing a lot of the time. So again, going to like that professional and not overstressing yourself or adding
yeah,
unnecessary stress. And again, we're talking some bad stuff about inflammation, but again, it has its job to do. So it's not always bad. Again, it's how your body heals. If you cut yourself or you're sore after a workout, That's inflammation doing its job. Only problem that you guys need to pay attention to is if that inflammation never shuts down. So
Hmm. So, how can we see inflammation like stats on a lab work? So it will be as a HSCRP. Normal levels are under 3.0, and optimal should be under 1.0. Ideal is around range from zero point 0.3 to zero point 0.7. And like, see how I said normal might be under 3, but for most individuals, like if you're about 1, it might be usually like sign of chronic stress, you know.
yeah.
So that's also something to look into. Next, something that might cause inflammation is vitamin D deficiency. So what does vitamin D do? I think everyone who hears like vitamin D, they always think about sun. So sun is number one thing to do, like sun gazing, and that sunlight exposure, best thing to do if you're vitamin D deficiency. So what does it do? It regulates immune system, supports mood, supports hormone functions, and it affects our recovery. Um, we have question in chat. So this may have been already answered earlier, but if someone keeps crashing every day, what's the first thing that they should change?
For the glucose, right?
Yeah, I guess that's what they asking.
Yeah. So again, just not skipping your meals and slowing the sugar spike. So it could be eating your protein before
Yeah.
you have your carbs. Again, yeah.
So yeah, make sure your sleep is good. Also, I don't know. You might depends on what your intake is and what you're consuming throughout the day. Like crash might be caused from different things. Like you
Mhm.
might be sugar crash. It might be caffeine crash. You have to make sure you keep up with what you're consuming throughout the day, so you know what might be the cause of your crashes. The if you experience crashing and low energy, I guess make sure you get that sleep, and maybe even morning sunlight exposure, because like crashes might be also caused from mitochondria. So if you have like mitochondrial dysfunction, you might be experiencing crashes. But this sunlight exposure in the morning and sun gazing, also um, getting your circadian rhythm in check, like that will improve the work rate of mitochondria. So you might be experiencing less crashes. We also have another question. How should I proceed if I have night shift that ruin my sleep schedule?
Wait, can you repeat the question?
How should I proceed if I have night shifts that ruin my sleep schedule?
Um,
Well, I guess we live in a society where like people have to work these night shifts to make simple money for themselves. But like best thing is to like not have these uh like night shifts. If you're able to not take them, just don't take them. But also like I guess like controlling your blue light intake, because like if you have less blue light, then your sleep might be even better. So if your sleep quality might be high, if your sleep quality is high, obviously the next day you will feel much better. So also you should not be drinking caffeine, like people get like chug these caffeine like before their shift. If you want to do that, like you have to like stop consuming caffeine like 6 or 8 hours before that shift, because you might mess up your sleep schedule even worse. So I mean, how does one's day look after their night shift? They come home and obviously they have to have like, I don't know, what you think, like big gap so they can start their day. So I would
Yeah,
say
it's
after,
kind of unfortunate,
yeah.
but
So I guess you have to get that 7 hours of sleep.
yeah. And for a lot of people, you might even have to sneak the sleep in at some point.
Mm,
So that's also why it's like another big thing is most people they're not like deficient because they might be eating bad, but again, it's because of like your modern lifestyle. So again, you're like working that night shift, like maybe you're training or different stress. This all burns through your nutrients faster
hmm.
than your food can replace it. So again, getting that sleeping is very, very important.
Yeah.
And people might end up in this like weird state where they're not sick, but they're not as sharp as they would say they are or like to be.
Hmm.
So that I'm tired all the time or I don't recover like I used to. Um, my focus sucks or I feel anxious for no reason. This all
Yeah.
stems from again that new lifestyle. So that's why some people might think, is it like harder now in this day and age compared to maybe like back then? So it's really
Yeah.
like you have to really weigh out everything that you're doing.
Hmm. Now going back to vitamin D, like what does low vitamin D feel for one individual? Like you experiencing low mood, like mood swings, frequent sickness, fatigue, weak recovery, lifestyle changes, again, sun exposure, sun gazing in the morning. But if there is no sun out, then what we do, like for example, winter times, then you have to supplement yourself with supplements. It's not bad to take vitamin D supplements, but this should only happen during winter season because we don't have much sun out. And the moment the spring comes and the sun starts to raise up earlier, then it is better to get up and sun gaze and do grounding in the morning. Outside
And I
movement,
might I might be cutting out, but
yeah.
a lot of people this is not just vitamin D, but it's like around
Mhm.
vitamins and minerals in
Yeah, yeah.
general. Is like a lot of people um they don't no one ever wakes up, and they're like, "Oh, thank God my micronutrients are dialed in today." And
Yeah.
you only really notice it when you feel off. So that's why people they might even think, oh, vitamins and minerals, like I don't feel a buzz from them,
Mhm.
like a hit from caffeine or pre-workout. But usually when like any of them, if they're low, that's when everything might feel off. So yeah.
Yeah. So we have to make sure we have like consistent daily exposure to the sun so our skin is absorbing this vitamin D. Water ranges, normal ranges are from around to 20 to 50, optimal ranges 40 to 60 range. B12 is also vitamin B12 is also another thing that might cause fatigue, inflammation. What does vitamin B12 do? It supports nerve function, supports brain health, and also builds red blood cells with iron. So if you have low B12, you might be experiencing like brain fog, tingling in like let's say in your fingertips, fatigue, and maybe even anxiety. And what you can do is like eat animal-based foods, also support your gut health, so absorption is even better. Managing stress levels is important also, and like you have to monitor like levels of plant-based diets. Like some people not be eating this more vegans and are just consuming
Mhm.
plant-based diets. Like they have to make sure they monitor B12 levels because it's easier for them to go off the charts. So if
Yeah.
you're low, you can obviously supplement it, but again, you cannot overdo these supplements. You have to make sure like you have blood test results before you even try to do something like that. B12 normal range would be from 200 to 900, and optimal range is from 500 to 800. And like people might experience symptoms below 400. So optimal range might be from 200 to 900, but people might start experiencing like these symptoms like brain fog, tingling, fatigue below 400. So again, like shooting for optimal range for 500, 800 would be much better than staying that in normal range. Normal just means that it doesn't have any chronic diseases again. But based on individual, like your optimal range will be much better for you, you know. Next we have magnesium and electrolytes that show up there. So what does magnesium do? Magnesium regulates nervous system, also helps muscles relax, supports sleep. So if you think like you're experiencing like you can't sleep, a lot of people, and actually me too, like take magnesium as a supplement, and it helps to improve sleep and go into that deeper states of the sleep that we talked about in previous episodes of podcast. And it is magnesium is involved in over 300 enzymatic reactions. So low magnesium might cause poor sleep again, muscle cramps. If you're experiencing muscle cramps, like first thing that you think of is low magnesium. Restlessness, so you can't rest, anxiety, and like you always feel that tension in your body, like you're always tense, like tensed up. And like when you're stressed out, like that actually burns through magnesium fast. So that's why most of the most people who are stressed might experience low magnesium because stress takes out a lot of magnesium. How can we improve this? Low levels, again, you can supplement it with magnesium supplements. You can eat nuts, seeds, and leafy greens. Also, like stop overstressing yourself. Maybe take that little vacation, or easiest and free way is to meditate and just clear your mind. Learn how to approach your stress and how to get rid of it. Meditation is one of the helpful ways that I find easy for me. And like you have to avoid excessive stimulants, and you have to again balance your training intensity. Like you have to make sure you take those rest days. So I guess for magnesium is like, if you're imagine if your nervous system like never shuts off, like minerals are not able to keep up with it. Like you have to always support. So you have to make sure that stress level and your nervous system is always calm to help you reach that optimal goal that you want. Or let's say magnesium levels. Magnesium levels for normal is from 1.7 to 2.2, and optimal is from 2.0 to 2.2. Next, we have thyroid, like TSH, thyroid hormonal, thyroid stimulant hormone. And what does it do? Like mostly that they do this thyroid test to see like where are our thyroid hormones, because they control metabolism, they regulate energy, they affect like all the hormones in our body, they affect mood, temperature, and that homeostasis of our body. So like high TSH might be sign of like thyroid struggling. And again, TSH ranges normal would be from zero point 0.5 to 4.5, and optimal ranges from zero point 0.9 to 2.5. So high thyroid range over 4.5 might mean that your thyroid is struggling. And to improve this, like one of the things doctors will tell us in like thyroid patients in Georgia is to walk near the beach, because I guess like since water sea contained like salt, it also has like iodine in it. It was like,
Yeah, the
yeah,
atmosphere level.
yeah, and also iodine is a lot of iodine in the air, and I guess like our skin consumes it and is able to absorb it. And one of the doctor's advice were to walk near the beach. So if you live near a beach and you have thyroid issues, like walking near a beach would also be like uh, great for your thyroid. improve sleep again, getting your sleep in check, then you have to make sure you avoid like extreme dieting. Like, so that if you have thyroid issues, you cannot like overdo it with the diet. And well, I have multiple some other uh, things that you might find on your lab tests and lab work. Sodium levels, if you want to know what normal ranges are, it's from 135 to 145. An optimal range is from 138 to 142. Again, so sodium might cause inflammation, a lot of sodium in our body. So potassium, on the other hand, would help with debloat and taking out that excess out of our system. And normal potassium levels are 3.5 to 5.0, and optimal ranges 4.0 to 4.5. And I also have cortisol levels here. Normal is considered from 5 to 25, and optimal would be based on Andrew Haberman from mid to upper range in the morning. So cortisol levels always fluctuates and always changes. So I guess like in the morning, that's when you can find out if you're stressing or not, because cortisol is mostly built upon like not good sleep and high stress levels. So that's what I have for the what you might find on your lab work and how to look at it and what each of the things do. Like obviously there are guys there are other lab works that you can do, and those will tell you like a lot of information about you also. But this was like base work that you get done, like the what's the word for it?
Baseline test results, or
Yeah, I guess like it's like basic tests that most people get for the blood work. And actually the for maybe in a future episodes, or if you guys want to know, you can email us or shoot us text of what tests might be like recommended to fully see the picture of where you at currently, because there are a lot of tests that you can add and pay out of pocket because most doctors don't have code for it to write it out for you and for insurance to cover it. So for those tests, you might have to pay out of pocket. But it is great to know like where your body currently stands. I will definitely recommend it, and I'm planning on doing one actually in the near future because I want to actually see like where I'm at currently. So yeah, this was it about the labs and what does our blood tell tell us about our body, and we have to make sure that we don't only associate blood work as a like disease management. We can look at it as a feedback and use it as a feedback to improve our optimal health.
yeah, and also to wrap up, like some of these late stage signals, by the time you notice them, your body's probably already compensated for it. So again, that like your thyroid maybe being
Mhm.
underactive, your low iron and the cortisol running high. These all it's they tell you a version of yourself and you're that you might not running be at optimally. And it's not to judge, but to help you understand yourself, guys. And when you understand it, you finally stop guessing and you live more optimally.
Yep. So thank you guys for tuning in to Figuring Out Friday, presented to you by Healing Your Way and Mike and Mike. And we hope to see you. What is next Friday? What day is it next? Oh, it's
uh
26. So
yeah.
after Christmas. Let's see. Let's see how holidays work. And yeah, hope to see you next Friday. And thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure you follow us on Rumble, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram at Healing Your Way. If you have any questions, you can email us or you can visit website and you will see contact information over there. So please, guys, if you have any questions, make sure you ask, and we'll be glad to return the response.
And again, whatever you guys might want to have us cover on any other episodes, you guys can shoot that as well.
Yep. Again, thank you for tuning in.